you heard chapter 10 or you read it in the book, and you know this is the scene where Tony Russo, the billionaire, and Emma Blake, his intern, have a talk with one another. And some of you are saying, Sass, how did you even think of this idea? It is so clever. Well, I don't know how clever it is. It's fairly common in the billionaire world. But I was thinking this idea because I've been an intern, almost everybody has. And of course, I thought my billionaire boss was super attractive. That's why it's in the book. But you're probably thinking, well, what went through your mind when it was happening? So I'll tell you right now, I had to write it out because I wanted to share my thought with you in a more structured way. When I first envisioned Tony Russo's character, I knew I wanted to exude a certain level, or have him exude a certain level of control and authority that would be both intimidating and intriguing. Now, do my billionaire boss intimidate me? Kind of. Yes, I would say he did. Did he intrigue me? Of course. Are you kidding? Yes, he intrigued me. So it is that mixture of intrigue and intimidation. And chapter 10 is where the story really comes to life. Of course, you love chapter 1 when they didn't know who each other were and they had sex on a plane, just to put it out there, or almost sex on the plane. So, but chapter 10 is really where it does happen. And the setting is a pristine white lobby. When you come to Manhattan, if you peek inside the doors of these giant office buildings, you'll see that they all have pristine white lobbies. And it's a thing in New York, right? It's a real thing. So, and then they all have these beautifully dressed guards, men and women. I didn't know this until, well, I would like to say recently, but I didn't know this at first. But these are not their own suits, of course. They're brought to them dry cleaned every day. Everything is pressed, everything is immaculate. And they look immaculate. And they do, even the guards look intimidating, especially when you're an 18-year-old intern, right? So the setting is a pristine white lobby in the heart of Manhattan. It's Midtown, right? And it reflects Tony's world, cold, polished, and meticulously ordered, right? So every person is in their place, all of their equipment, the camera to snap pictures of the visitors, it's all right there. But what I liked most about this chapter, chapter 10, is the subtle power play between Tony and Harper Cole. You're probably thinking, why did I choose the name Harper Cole she's a minor character. She's the bitch, right? Every story needs a bitch. And she's the bitch that was snarky and mean to beautiful Emma, beautiful, innocent, doe-eyed Emma when she first walked into that pristine white lobby. She was the bitch that was, that she didn't trip her, but she said, watch your step or something nasty. And of course, the girl from Human Resources, Julie, came to Emma's rescue and she proved herself a good friend. But anyway, you're saying, why did you get, I was saying, how did I come up with the name Harper? Because Harper, I'm sorry if your name is Harper, but to me, I mean, it's a beautiful name. It's like a harp, right? But a harp also makes noise. And to me, Harper is like a strident individual, a strident individual. So, and Harper Cole, of course, is the nemesis of every uh, young person or older person. Anybody who works in an office, there's always a Harper Cole, somebody who's a mean girl, somebody who's just denigrating and irritating. So Harper Cole is trying to woo the billionaire with her. She's a good marketing, and she's not an intern, she's a regular staffer. And she's a little bit older than Emma. She's maybe 22 or 23. So she's been around the block, Harper. Yes, Harper has been around the block. So I like the subtle power play between Harper and Tony. She tries to come on to him. She sashays into his office. She prepared a marketing report. She bypasses her boss to present it to him personally, right? So that was kind of juicy and fun. And then she's intimidated. She's not intimidated by Tony's stern demeanor, right? Even though he's a freak in the sheets, he's at work. He's a very disciplined individual, let's call it that. So he resists her, especially because she's an underling. She works for him. He doesn't want to get a rep in the office, although he has one, but not for preying on office personnel that work for him. He has a reputation as someone who's super hot, and every woman wants to be with him. Okay, so the scene was fun to write because it allowed me to explore the tension that arises when two strong-willed characters collide. Let's think about that for a minute. They're both very strong-willed. Harper, much more than Emma Blake. Emma is young, but it's hard to imagine her becoming a hardened Harper Cole type, even when she's 40. She always has that doe-eyed innocence about her. And that's what Tony loves. He loves that. And that's a subject for another conversation here. But yes, he loves that. So I particularly enjoyed crafting the moment when Harper defies expectations, daring to approach Tony with her marketing ideas, despite the clear boundaries he set. What's interesting, too, is how Tony's thoughts drift to Madame Y right after his interaction with Harper. That's pretty much a rule in romance. At first, it was hard for me to think about that because I didn't start out writing romance. I wrote cozy mysteries. I wrote Hollywood mysteries, right? And of course, Hollywood mysteries have romance in them, but the romance genre, the two people always have to be thinking about each other. So that took some time to get myself into that mindset. So at this moment, when this chapter 10 happens, Tony doesn't know that Emma's going to be his next intern. He's just thinking about Madame Y, right? The girl, they called each other by initials, Madame Y. So it's a moment that hints at his vulnerability, something he fiercely guards but cannot completely suppress, right? Okay, that is true. And the contrast between his rigid exterior and the simmering emotions, you got that simmering emotions beneath the surface, set the stage for the complex dynamics that will unfold as the story progresses. I wrote this to be written, not spoken. I'm speaking it now. But writing, as you can just see from my dialogue right now, when I'm speaking to you from the memory of writing that, it's a different communication style even than a written. Because if I wrote what I just said, people would take a red pen to it and say, why is this woman so disorganized? Why can't you just tell us succinctly? When you read this, maybe I'll attach the written part so you could read it too. And you'll see that when I write it, it's more like copywriting, right? It's more like something you'd read in the back of a book, a dust jacket copy, as they used to say. And when I'm speaking to you, I'm speaking to you about the moment I wrote it and about the characters that I know, the Tony I know, the Harper, God. Maybe I should do a poll and say, why don't you send me your Harper Cole example? Because I'm sure everybody in the whole world has one, whether they work in a high-rise Manhattan office or not. So that is enough for this. I explained why I wrote chapter 10, and you could read it in the book, or you could read my interpretation, my written document here. All right, see you next time. Bye now.